Hello everybody, Juan back at it again. We've got Haruki Murakami's What I Talk About When I Talk About Running, with the learnings, the quotes and the learnings that I took out from this book in these bonus content. So if you haven't checked out the actual full review, go and check that out through the audio, the videos, everywhere else. I'm just going to talk through the way that I've split it up in a couple of the learnings, a couple of the quotes, why I've chosen that. And look, just to be clear, the way I've described it and split it across is learnings around broad learnings in the business sense, in financial sense, ones into essentially fitness and health, and then relationship and giving. So let's get stuck into it. The first quote that I have here, it's pretty thin, the wall separating healthy confidence and unhealthy pride. Love this quote. I think predominantly I enjoyed the quote because of I can feel that I myself have a bit of unhealthy pride. So having a bit of healthy confidence is good, but knowing when to temper that and when it goes over the edge into that unhealthy stage of pride is quite strong. So yeah, that's sort of straight out to me. The other one there is, all I can do is keep those reasons nicely polished. So here Murakami is talking about some of the reasons as to why he goes about running. And I like the particular wording of that, keeping those reasons nicely polished. All about when you've got something that you're doing, whether it's in fitness, in business, financial, learning, whatever it may be, you're going to get a lot of troubles, you're going to get a lot of blockers in your way. Having the reasons as to why you're doing what you're doing, why you're trying to learn more, why you're trying to gain more money, why you're trying to keep this relationship stable, whatever it may be, keeping those reasons nicely polished, keeping those reasons at the front of mind, always quite clear. So during those moments when it's tough, again, there's blockers in front of you, you can go ahead and be able to look at your whys and go, yes, this is why I am doing this, and be able to continue on. Obviously, the famous one from the book, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. I don't know how much more I want to go into this one. It's pretty self-explanatory. I think all of us, we can take this away where we're all going to experience pain. And pain can be emotional, physical, we can lose something. But suffering, the act of suffering is optional. So for sure you're going to experience the pain. That's going to happen. We're all going to experience that. But then it is your reaction, how you suffer to it. That's the optional bit. So there's levels of pain that's going to create a mandatory response of suffering. But you can choose whether, if you get punched in the face, quite literally, you can take away whether you're going to suffer for a short period of time where the pain sort of gets going till it goes away. Or you're going to keep suffering and you're going to keep using that as an excuse or as a method of, okay, well, I got punched, I'm not going to do this again, right? So, love that quote. It really sort of resonated with myself. So I probably resonates with a lot of people, as this is the book that's made that particular quote quite famous. I never take 2 days off in a row. Our muscles are very conscious. If we observe the correct procedure, they won't complain. In this particular quote, Murakami's talking about his running and the muscles to run. Now, I'm not sure if he's gone through his whole life with 20-odd years of running with only taking a couple of days off in a row, but it sort of implies that it's a good thing to try and keep yourself going in quite often. And the way he compares, your muscles being conscious of the fact of whether you're training or you're pushing it. Now, I love that because it kind of takes it away to not just the fitness perspective, but also the mindset perspective. So, if you're pushing yourself to fail every couple of days and keep on pushing yourself to do that, you'll find that you'll learn at such a rapid rate. Obviously, the direct quote here in terms of muscles and fitness, keeping yourself mobile and fit. So for me, it's gym, a little bit of running, but doing that often and as much as possible allows your muscles to be conscious of the fact that this is what you expect of them. An unhealthy soul requires a healthy body. How often do we have an unhealthy appetite for something? And look, for people, it could be partying, it could be staying up late and playing games, it can be chasing business success, whatever it may be. I like this because an unhealthy soul can benefit so much from a healthy body. So if you are such a person that you strive to do a lot of things, so that may be whatever of the ones I just mentioned before, it's good to have a healthy body. So keeping yourself either, if you can, sleeping well, training well, reading, learning, mentally well, is going to pay off. If you are unhealthy, on a healthy manner, going after things in particular, like you're trying to put in 12, 14-hour days to reach a particular goal, you're going to be better off if you've got a healthy body as opposed to an unhealthy one. That also carries over to eating and eating and training. In the final analysis, we are all the same. So Murakami talks about, in this particular sentence, he's talking about the other runners. In particular, he ran with an Olympian, or soon to be silver medalist, I believe it was, up in the mountains, and kind of enjoyed just being able to analyze that, even though there's people who are far, far ahead. And he explains in the book he's no top level runner. He's just someone who enjoys running. It sort of makes part of the way that he writes novels as well, and sort of coincides with when he began. But in his analysis, he's kind of saw, we're all the same in his particular area of we run, we breathe, and he kind of really explores that. I really like that because in the takeaway sense, I've seen that a little bit in the business and also fitness space, where when I've interacted with individuals who are quite, if you want to just talk about it in levels, at this amazing level where you look up to them almost to that point, and in speaking to them, you find they've got similar issues to what you might experience, similar problems, similar things that they have to tackle, similar fears, similar things that they think about. And really enjoyed it because, guys, in the analysis of it, we are all really the same. We're all, I guess, mere mortals. This final quote, probably the one I enjoyed the most out of it, and it's, one of the privileges given to those who have avoided dying young is the blessed right to grow old. This particular one was a little bit out of context in when I actually picked it up out of the book. It wasn't altogether written in a way that was supposed to be super powerful and catching, but it was just something as I was reading it through, it sort of picked it up. And I really like that because I've always had this mindset, I don't know if others out there have, where you've almost thought getting older is a little bit of not a terrible thought, but a thought that you've gone, I don't want to get older. I'm going to get to 30 or 35 or 40 and my body's going to be a little bit whatever and breaking down and not as good, and you wish for younger days. But this kind of flips on its head in the sense that you're almost grateful for the fact that you're able to get old. So for those who have avoided dying young, and there's many, many people out there who have died young, whether it's the curse of being 27, people who are in other places around the world who are much more unfortunate than common individuals, and they've died at a very young age, whether it's because of lack of food, lack of water, whatever it may be. Pivoting that and being grateful for the ability to getting old as opposed to complaining about it. The way that particular sentence was structured just hit home. Loved it. Probably the biggest one that I quoted down and probably take away from Haruki Murakami's What I Talk About When I Talk About Running. Those have been some of the quotes that I took away. Of course, everybody will pull away their own quotes from it. So just because I pulled these out, I do recommend you go and check out the full book and go and take a bit of a read to understand what calls out to you. If you got the same sort of takeaways as I did, or if you got some others as well. Again, if you haven't checked out the full book review, go and do so. YouTube, Spotify, everywhere else, whether it's audio, whether it's video, you can check that out. Ladies and gentlemen, Juan out.